go.
Jay and I have been extremely excited for this.
I am too.
Yeah, we have.
We tell your story. Well, we don't know your whole story. That's why you're here today. But I will say, just as a brief introduction, when we had the opportunity to work for you, you're probably one of the most humble athletes that we've ever met. We both play sports, not to your level, but we've met a lot of people. And nobody has even been close to as humble of a person as you are. And to me, that's one of the best qualities a human being can have.
Yeah.
That said, when we last bumped into you on a plane when we were doing a trip out in Montana, thanks to this podcast, actually, that's how we got out there, you were sitting back next to the toilets with us, which really solidified how humble this guy is.
With the rest of the peasants.
Yeah. That's where the chickens go in the back.
Oh, I tell you what, man. Oh, that's good stuff.
How was that trip when you went out there, by the way?
It was great. It was good. Yeah, good times. I mean, really, you sound like you guys had a way better trip than I did in Montana.
It was productive.
It was work. It was work, but it was fun.
Yeah, hard work, I assume, right?
Yeah, manual labor. You're not a stranger to that.
That's right.
Chris, can you give us just a little background? Obviously, two-time Super Bowl champion, NFL player, a father, husband.
Before he gets into that, I gotta let you know something.
Oh yeah, I
forgot
about this.
I'm wearing this shirt purposely for you. A little bit of Seahawk green.
You know what? I see the shades.
Okay, tried to get close to Seahawk green. There's no way I was wearing that Philly green.
No
fucking way. However, this is a Brady brand shirt.
Okay, I was gonna say you gotta stay true, right?
Yes. And we were wondering, as an NFL, but do all players have their own clothing line?
You know what? Only the good ones.
Okay.
Brady would be in that category of good. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one, baby. I didn't even see that. That's nice. Nice play.
You know, you brought up my haircut too. It's funny because I talk to him all the time.
Yep.
So far, you're the third elite athlete on here. So I consider myself.
Are you the other
one
two?
as well.
No. Jerry and Mike Greenwell.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we all have bald heads, and I attribute it to wearing a helmet every day.
Yeah, of course, right?
But it's a mystery with him why he still has his hair, because he wore a helmet to school every day.
Yeah, you know what? We got to figure that one out, right? Exactly, right. That's funny.
Chris, where did you start? Where are you from originally?
Yeah, I'm from Racine, Wisconsin originally. Yeah, just a blue-collar town in Wisconsin, just south of the Milwaukee area. So, yeah, it was good growing up. Had a great experience. Really great people in the hometown I came from. Just quality people, Midwestern, honest, humble, hardworking people, and really laid a foundation for me kind of as I kind of got older and kind of grew up. So it was awesome.
Played all sports growing up?
Yeah, anything I could. Yeah, and probably the reason for that was my mom probably wanted me out of the house more because I was a terror, right?
Yeah.
I just ended up playing all the sports just so I could get out of her hair for sure.
Any siblings?
I have one brother. He's older. Yep.
Older brother.
He beat up on me. Him and his friends all the time. Yeah.
Oh, so maybe he's part of.
He's part of the reason why. Oh yeah, we used to play jock jams in our front driveway, and gosh, man, he was always beating up on me. And then I started getting a little bit older, and his friends would come around and all that. But it was definitely toughened me up for sure.
That's cool.
Yep.
And so you played let's get into football. You played high school football.
Yep.
And you started getting, how does that even work? The recruiting and. I'm sure it's different then than it is now.
It was different back then. So back then, you guys remember they used to have the TVs, like the VHS and the DVD together in the TV. So you take your VHSs or whatever and you transfer them onto DVDs. That was like the big thing back then. So you make highlight tapes.
Oh, for hype videos.
Hype videos, highlight tapes. But the way that we would get recruited, there was no online services, social media stuff. So it was just these college coaches hitting the recruiting trails, going to the pipeline schools, asking around the conference what kids could potentially play, and then they'd come in and visit you at school, and that's just really how it kind of worked out. So.
And was your high school a big high school?
It was, yep, it was.
Were you the only pro athlete to come out of there?
There was a WNBA player and a baseball guy that had done it, maybe. So
in the same time frame as you?
Before.
Before.
Yep. So. And
so I'm putting myself back in high school. Obviously, I think we're a little bit older than you, but when I was in high school, if there was somebody even sniffing close to the success that obviously that you had, I can only imagine what that would be like for a high school kid to start saying like, oh my God, so-and-so's being recruited. Like, how was that? Were you like a celebrity almost in its own right? Or?
Hardly, yeah. Believe me. Believe me. You guys can look at me. I don't know. They got video on this, right? So I don't really look necessarily like that big blue chip recruit. So they weren't banging down the doors for me as a recruiter, but I had enough to at least sniff some colleges. And I actually got lucky. There was a guy, Jake Moreland, who was at Western Michigan University, who had been from the Milwaukee area, and he was coming through some of the, you know, outer suburbs of Milwaukee schools, and he had saw me, and that's how I got a walk-on to Western Michigan. It's kind of through him, so worked out.
And he was scheduled to go see you in particular, or he just happened to be there?
You know, I don't remember exactly how it worked. Somehow, whether he was coming through the recruiting line, he was coming through our hometown, he's popping in, because I went to a really big high school. It was like 2,500 kids when I was there. 2,500 kids, yeah, big school. So it was one of those deals where he was kind of coming through because he was from the area, he was hitting the recruiting trail, and then he had happened to see my film and kind of talked to me, and kind of just got an opportunity to go over there and play. So it was cool.
Now you were a receiver at that time.
Wide receiver, yep. I was a wide receiver. So little Wes Welker for you Patriots guys, right?
Yeah.
Julian Edelman, right?
Yeah.
They were just way better. Yeah, just way. Those guys are way better. Yeah.
So what made you switch?
You know what? It was when I left Western Michigan, I transferred back to Wisconsin. I walked on at the University of Wisconsin, and when you transfer,
you were a walk-on.
I was a walk-on, yeah, at both colleges. Yeah, I didn't get a scholarship till my last year in college, my 5th year.
No,
yeah, it's crazy. Yep, and so so when I transferred back to Wisconsin, I had to sit out that whole season. I couldn't play. I was ineligible. It was just transfer rules back then. It's different than how it is now. And so every day I couldn't play, but I was on the scout team offense going against our starting defense. And so defensive coaches took a notice of me. Our head coach, Brett Bielema, was a defensive guy. And there was, all throughout the fall, I'd just come out there, work hard, block guys, whatever needed to be done, play whatever position. And I think that they took a liking to that. And then we got into the spring, and there was an interception thrown or something. I was actually playing wide receiver. So this is, I'm through the fall season into the spring. And a linebacker picks it off. He runs on the field. I don't know why I did this, but I ran like all the way down the field, cross field. He was running for a touchdown. I stripped him from the back, pulled the ball out, got it back for us, and it was like a non-tackling period. So here I am, think I'm getting in trouble, and so the head coach, Brett Bielema, he calls me up to his office. He's like, "Hey, you're going to switch to defense." And I was like, I thought I was getting in trouble, And so
blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, all right, well, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
So the coaches, so to be in the mindset, because I know typically, predominantly, wide receivers are kind of this egotistic, like, give me the ball, I'm a diva.
Yeah.
And so now to have the wherewithal to go to defense, you got to be extremely open-minded. Was that? Like, that wasn't even on the radar for you to do defense, but that was strictly the coaches saw that?
Yeah, they saw that.
They recognized that in you.
I was a walk-on, so I was just kind of like...
You just wanted to be there.
Yeah, I just wanted to be there, and I was just trying to, stand out a little bit. And so some of the offense coaches were taking a notice, but the defensive coaches really got to see me on a day-to-day basis playing offense against the starting defense. And so they liked some of the things that they saw and the work ethic and drive, and just kind of how it worked out. So
I think that's the important part here for especially people that follow us. Even in our business, no matter what position you start off in, as long as you are passionate about it and work hard and care for others,
that's right.
So many other opportunities can open up. And now you end up becoming, we'll get into that, but a captain of a Super Bowl winning team. That's fucking awesome.
Not how you start, it's how you finish.
That's right. Yeah, it's exactly right. And just like you guys, you guys start out, and now it's like, you're at 12 locations around here now and growing, and it's like you see just how you lay that foundation. You do it right, and then you can replicate it. And you can build and grow and get better and just, continue to have success through that.
Chris, tell us, though, because one thing that we see, especially with social media and how much information we're constantly taking, patience has an important role in here, because none of this big stuff that they all see happens overnight, right?
Yep.
Like, how much hard work did you actually put in just to this point that we're talking now in college?
Oh, man.
Like, weekends, nights.
There were days where I'd come back in college, or I'd be getting ready to go off to college, and when I was still in high school, friends are going down to the beach and doing stuff, and I was running hills, and it was just...
That's not easy for a kid.
No, yeah, but I just knew what it was going to take, and I had to go in there planning ahead of time, right? So instead of being reactive, being proactive, of saying like, all right, look, this is going to be a big jump. I need to stretch myself now so that when I get there, it's not as big of a leap or a jump. And so, you got to be willing to sacrifice things that other people aren't to get things that other people don't, right? And so I think that's the big thing that you really have to be able to understand, is thinking ahead on things and putting yourself in a position to have success, and maybe not hit some of those bumps in the road along the way because you did stuff on the front end, so that on the back end it's a little bit easier.
Let me ask you one thing. Where do you think you picked that up from? Like, is that your parents? Was there a mentor? Like, because that, as easy as it is, you're saying it, and that's the truth. you still got to do it. Like somebody had to instill that discipline in you.
Yeah, I come from really hardworking families. My dad's side is Greek by descent. My mom's Italian by descent. Both really hardworking families. Really lineages of those people. Grandfather was a butcher. The other one was a factory worker. And so you saw the work ethic. My mom would get up when I was in high school and she would cook breakfast for the whole football team.
No shit.
Yeah. We'd work out in the mornings, and then right before we went off to school, there'd be a breakfast burrito, a breakfast sandwich or something. And she was up, I remember, 3:30, 4 a.m., getting all the stuff ready for those workouts. And you're working multiple times a week, And so seeing that instilled, my dad, all the things that he did, I mean, the stuff that went on that I was able to witness from my parents and that they witnessed from my grandparents and everybody, it kind of laid that foundation to say, hey, listen, you got to be able to invest and plant seeds and, put things in place so that eventually those things will sprout up and grow and you'll produce some fruit or some success. So
big shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Maragos.
That's right.
Harden up this piece of steel right here. Wow, that's cool. Jay, what did you have? You got some fucking copious notes there, dude.
I like it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put the work in, right?
There's some preparation. I like this.
You got to put
That's
the work
right.
in.
Grass doesn't grow on a busy street.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. I love it.
So, you obviously graduated after college, graduated into the NFL as an undrafted free agent.
Yep.
And we'll get into a little bit more of how far you went, but some of the places you played. So you played in probably two of the most difficult places to play as a visitor, right? You played in Seattle. You had the 12th man, the loudest crowd
crazy.
in the NFL. Okay,
crazy.
And then you played in Philly, where the fans, they're not even nice to Santa.
Shout out Philly fans. All right, let's go.
You gotta respect them.
Oh, I love it.
So you were kind of in the Lions' den on the good side the whole time.
Yeah.
But what were some of the places you played where it was just like,
yeah, that's a good question.
It really got under your skin?
Yeah, anytime we played Dallas, Dallas, Philly.
In Dallas.
Yeah, in Dallas, yeah. Dallas, Philly rivalry, that was real.
Oh,
and they take their football serious in Texas, man, Yeah. It's real. So that was definitely one. New York, going up there, NFC East rivals, stuff like that. That was always a big rival for sure. And then, you have your matchup games, right? Where anytime we played another big team where we were jockeying for NFC's, supremacy, it was always full tilt. And so there was some really, really good matchups, and the NFL football is alive and well right now, that's for sure. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
So when you were going to those different stadiums, aside from the fans, we see a lot of times, like, you see a cold weather team will go to Miami and the heat's on in the locker room, stuff like that.
Is there any teams like that? Anybody taking a competitive advantage, something that stuck out to you?
Yeah. You know what? So Dallas's locker room is super nice. They make it's comfortable, right? I mean, you're at is it AT&T Stadium? I don't know. Maybe it's Cowboy Stadium. I can't remember what it is now.
Ninth wonder of the world, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, exactly, right? But it's comfortable, like you got a place to go. Other places you go, it's like there's one toilet in there.
For the whole football team.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, you're in these, showers, and there's not room for much. I mean, they're not making it real nice, so it's definitely stuff that you got to jump through the hoops with and things like that. But for the most part, everybody's really accommodating. But, hey, I wouldn't make it nice for the visiting team either. I mean,
well, everybody's trying to get an edge. I mean, just like in business, we're trying to get an edge. We're trying to do something. So that was interesting. So there's nothing that really sticks out to you that was egregious?
So I'll tell you, college now.
Okay.
So at Wisconsin, we played at Iowa, and Iowa's locker room was all pink. And I'm talking down to the urinal. The whole your porcelain urinal is pink.
Like Pepto Pink?
Yeah, like Pepto-Bismol pink.
Everything.
Even like the stalls, like the toilet stalls, that block you off. I mean, everything. And it's almost one of those things where it does, like, psychology-wise, distract you, because it's not even the point where you're just like, all right, everything's pink, but you're just talking about
Everybody's talking.
Everybody's like, dude, the toilet paper roller is pink right there, like the stuff that comes out of it. So you're not thinking about the game, and you're kind of laughing about it. You're like, dude, how much more stuff could be pink in here, right? And you're just not focused on the stuff you could be focused on. That was, I felt like, pretty good, because it's like,
wow.
It probably could just make you a little lax and talking about other stuff or thinking about whatever, or just taking that little bit of edge off from really locking in, getting focused, because you're just.
That's what I was hoping to hear. That's perfect.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, no, it was cool like that. So it was. There's definitely good experiences all around, no doubt.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's such a subtle thing. Like you don't, you don't
It's
realize it.
innocuous.
Like you said, you didn't even realize what was going on. It's not like you went into the locker room and you're dripping fucking sweat. And you're like, Jesus Christ, turn the heat down.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you didn't realize it.
Yeah, it was, and that's like I think like the actually good part about it, right? Because it's not like we don't have water. Like it's like something like that. But it's so subtle that it's kind of like hits you behind the head, right?
Yes.
It's like, well, what's
simple
that? Yeah.
but simplistic.
That's
I
right.
like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
But very effective. Yeah.
Was there any other names on the Wisconsin Badgers that went to the NFL with you?
Yeah. Yep. So there was O'Brien Schofield, Garrett Graham. Those were all guys that were my age. JJ Watt came after.
JJ.
Yeah, and then you got the whole line of just running backs that have been through there. Melvin Gordon, James White. I mean, the list goes on. DBs, Marcus Cromart. I mean, there's a lot of guys from when I was playing that really went on to play. I mean, Jonathan Casillas. There are tons of linemen. I mean, I could name a million linemen that were there. I mean, just really great players that really had a lot of success. And
did you go all four?
For what's that?
College, all 4 years?
So I went 2 years at Western Michigan, 3 at Wisconsin.
Okay, so you got a degree?
Yeah, I got a degree. Yeah.
In?
Life Sciences Communications.
Okay. Okay.
So when you were there, we talked about you being a walk-on, and you didn't get a scholarship until your senior year.
Yep.
But you were putting in that work.
Yep.
Was it in your mind that, okay, I'm going to make it to the NFL, or were you just thinking, I just want to play in college. I want to get a scholarship in college?
It kind of progressed. So when I first got to college, it was just like especially when I went to Wisconsin, really the mindset was, hey, if I can just get out on the field, play, you're from the state of Wisconsin, you're the only Division I team, super cool to play for the Badgers, right? Like, I mean, it's just like every kid's hometown dream. And so just the opportunity to play there and think about running out there, getting a degree and all that kind of stuff was really cool. But then as I kind of kept getting going there, it was like, wow, like this could potentially happen. And you start excelling in the Big Ten and all that kind of stuff. And then recruiters and scouts are coming in and you're going, man, like this maybe could be a thing. And it just kind of evolved to where the expectations kind of shifted, where it was like, hey, instead of just getting out on the field, it's like, all right, we're playing really well on the field. Maybe there's a shot at the next level. So.
Oh wow, that had to be.
Yeah.
I get chills just thinking about
that's kind of cool.
Do you recall like a specific time when you're in college where you're like, holy shit, this is like a play or a game or something?
Yeah, for sure. So so going into my senior year, a few agents are reaching out for the season start. So I'm like, all right, like maybe there's like some chatter or something, right? But I was really relatively under the radar because I had just switched to defense the year before, so I didn't really have a whole lot of film or experience. But then the first couple games of my senior year, a lot of pass breakups, had some interceptions, things like that helped the team win. You had an interception in overtime that helped seal the game. And then, the recruiters or I should say scouts from these teams, these regional guys that are coming through looking at film, they'd start showing up at practice, and then they'd be there to kind of see you and a couple other guys, and you're going, all right, like maybe I'm getting on the radar here. But probably after those first few games my senior year where things started clicking for me on the field is when things kind of happened. So, kind of a progression.
When we are in business, and Jay and I were very aware of who we're talking to, when we're talking to them, and the whole situation surrounding any potential opportunity.
Totally.
When you were at college and those scouts went, obviously your work on the field speaks for itself, but NFL's looking for a lot more than that, right?
Yep.
Leadership,
Yep.
certain qualities. When you went and talked to them, how much do you think that had a play in getting you that next opportunity?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of those little things. Like you guys probably really see it in your business, right? It's like the little details really go a long way, especially for a customer or someone who you're manufacturing or supplying for, right? So it's like those little maybe check-ins or hey, we got you ahead of time, or those little updates, right, or whatever it might be throughout the process. Those things go really long ways to just making things go well. Same thing, when you look at, for me with football, these schools are coming by, you're getting a sense of your character and who you are, and then they're hearing from the coaches. I remember there was one time, there were some scouts around at practice, and it was like a pre-practice walkthrough, and we were going through all of our checks and adjustments and everything. And as a safety, you run the show on defense. So anytime the offense shifts, trades, motions, reshifts, resets, you're checking defenses, you're giving different techniques to corners, linebackers, you're running the whole show. So for me, I was always very over communicated because I wanted everybody on the same page. So I was always very boisterous during those walkthroughs to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Well, one of the scouts was there. I didn't even realize he was listening, and he went to one of our coaches like, I've never heard a guy, say so much during a walkthrough period on communication and their checks and adjustments and over communicating, which is a really big thing because a lot of times at the next level in the pros, it's not if the players are better or there's some big talent gap, because there really isn't at that level. Everybody can do everything talent-wise. But it's, is there a blown coverage because guys weren't on the same page? Were they playing two different coverages? Was it a busted coverage? That's when you see like big plays really happen in games because there's some sort of miscommunication. So that was something that I felt like that required no talent on my part to put us in a good position and to really help me individually as well for myself and my own career. But those are the types of things where I felt like, man, like that could really separate me and be a differentiator for me that requires zero talent. It's just effort, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that I tried to progress, and then, it helps me with the scouts and kind of what they were able to see and do. So
who do you think, again, was it your parents that you learned the importance of communication?
Yeah, for sure. No doubt, yeah. And I think as you make a lot of mistakes, as you guys have probably seen in your lives, right? Oh my gosh.
We just started getting good at communication the last 5 years.
That's right, yeah. Like, think about it.
Because now we understand how important it is.
Yep.
But you knew that in college.
Well, yeah, but think about it. I've been 5 years in college, so look, 5 years it takes you to get to the point where you're like, hey, this corner right here has to know what I'm going to do ahead of time. So stuff like that, where like you guys know ahead of time what the possibilities of, hey, listen, this potentially could happen, or this might be something that could happen based on this order or whatever it might be. And so for you guys got to look at it and say, hey, we know we're partners together. We do everything together. This is how things potentially go. This is how we know things need to be ran in order for it to go smooth because of all of our past mistakes or whatever it might be, so that now you guys can just operate efficiently and effectively and just kill it, right?
So communicating, I want everybody to listen out there, communicating was one of the leading factors why Mr. Maragos went from college to NFL.
All of our wives are watching this, by the way, and they're going to be like, that communication thing between us.
You don't do that at home.
Did we just shoot ourselves in the foot right here? I don't know.
We'll cut that. We'll cut that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Wait, you learned communication 5 years ago?
Oh, gosh.
That's funny. Yep. How much of a difference is there on the speed of the game? Because you hear this all the time from college to the pros.
Yeah, it's drastic. I mean, there's no holes. So like in college, you could find a weakness of the defense or offense and exploit it. In the NFL, there's not that. And so the other thing is these guys, not only are they all freakishly gifted, right, but they all know what to do because they're elite, right? And so when you go from the college ranks where it's, you got a lot of different demands in your life. You're on college campus, you're trying to get your degree, whatever it is that's going on. When you go to the NFL, it's like there's wives, kids, whatever. Plus, you might step in a situation where you're playing with a guy who's an 8, 9, 10-year veteran who is seasoned. I mean, they've seen everything. So not only are they extremely athletic and can do things, but they're so seasoned mentally. It's like you guys probably see issues or things way ahead of time because of your experience level now, right? That you can put out a lot of fire so that they don't become big things. Well, that's what guys are doing on the field. I mean, you got a guy in there 8, 10 years, like, you know what, I made this mistake 5 years ago. I know exactly what to do right now, and I know exactly where to put my body to make sure that I can be really good. And on top of it, they're really athletic and fast. So you get the efficiency. Not only are they really fast, but they're efficient while they're fast, which makes them even faster. If that makes sense.
It makes total sense. Right? We talk about this all the time, the 10,000 hours rule.
Sure.
You can tell, once you hit that 10,000 hours, you can almost start anticipating problems because you've seen so many cycles.
Yeah, you know the process.
I love when the color commentators, before we met you, we used to hear the saying that when they would speak about the GOAT, Tom Brady, they'd say, even though he's getting older, it seems like the game is slowing down for him. And even though he's older, he's moving faster. Well, it appears he's moving faster because he's able to anticipate what's already happening.
Well, that's what makes him the GOAT. I mean, he is the GOAT. But that's exactly why. He knows your defense. He knows if I look this way, the linebackers are going to flow this way. He already knows he's throwing back the other way. and he's manipulating you because he's not worried about what he needs to know, what his line, what his checks or adjustments. He's so far beyond that. He's on to the step of manipulating the defense or knowing what you're doing or seeing what you're doing checks and adjustment wise. So he's always, like, if you watch Tom Brady play, especially even in the later years of his career, he always looks like he wasn't even trying. He's just like calm all the time because his mind is slow, his body's sped up, and he's just going right where the ball is. You know, hey, if my first read's not open, I know my check down's right here, and I'm getting 7 yards with James White, you know, and it's just like, it's just what he's doing, you know, or he's just very, very just piece by piece by piece, just breaking defenses down, taking what they give him, very patient, not doing too much, and then picking his positions on when to go for it. And that's why he's the GOAT. He knows when to get rid of the ball. He's not taking big hits. His body's being saved. It's just there's so many factors that go into why he's so great, and you got to just sit back and admire it, really.
You mentioned earlier that when we were talking earlier, you mentioned that he liked to talk a lot of trash on the field.
Oh yeah.
So as an opposing defender, what rattled you more? Was it the trash talking, or was it knowing, holy shit, this guy is the GOAT and everything's slow for him? And
yeah, all the above for him. Goes like, all right, Tom Brady's talking trash, right? Like, first off, you got to just tip your cap and say, all right, Tom, you know what? Appreciate you. You know, like that's pretty.
Thanks for acknowledging me.
Yeah, you know what?
Hey,
on me. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I'll just receive that.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Keep going. Yeah, right. This is great. Yeah. But you know, but for him, it's like he's so confident that he's just like, you know what? I'm going to go down here. I'm going to execute you. You're not going to stop me, and you can do nothing about it. And that's what I appreciated about him so much. He was so confident going into it. He was like, listen, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm better than you. And that's the mindset he had. Now, did he win all the time in all the games? Obviously not. He's not perfect. But, man, that's why he's the GOAT, because he was better prepared. He was extremely athletic, extremely competitive, and he always in his mind felt like he was the best or he was always going to beat you.
Like manifesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is the GOAT as far as you're concerned, like what Tom does, but on the excluding you?
Yeah.
As far as defense, maybe that's big safety, for instance. Who sticks out to you that just can read an offense, anticipate, oh, it's going to be run, it's going to be pass?
Yep. There's a few players that I played with that I just hold in really high regard. And that's Malcolm Jenkins, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor. And to me, like a Cam Chancellor type is one of my favorite players, really, as at the safety position.
Tell us why.
I mean, the guy's all at 6'3.5". I mean, he looks like a D end out there on the field, and fluid hips. You know, he had good ball skills. His football awareness was unbelievable. Great leader, really humble guy, tenacious hitter. I mean, the guy had the whole complete skill set. And he brought everybody else's game up. And to me, that's the mark of a great player. There's a lot of players out there that are individually great, but they don't elevate the game of those around them. And he was the guy that brought everybody up because he set a standard, and everybody had to rise up to that standard that he set. And he just took things off of other guys' plates that were hard, and because he would take the brunt of it, it made their jobs easier. And to me, that's what makes a great player. Malcolm Jenkins was the same way. Earl Thomas, you know, that's just the safety position, I should say. Guys that I played with that are just unbelievable like that.
This was in Seattle. They played for Seattle.
Yep.
Is this the Legion of Boom?
Legion of Boom.
You were on that.
Yeah, I was. I was riding the coattails there, but yeah.
That's cool.
That was I'll take it. Yeah, that's right. Let's go.
I'm taking the fact that I talked to a guy that
Let's go. Hey, we're all doing it. Let's go. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So that is a quality. Everything that you just said about Cam Chancellor, you could say about people that we admire in business, like a guy like Jack Welch or somebody who gives, I work for my employees, they do not work for me, and I'm going to do my best to elevate everybody up, and I'm still going to hold myself to a high standard.
That's right. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that's that servant leadership that you look at. It's like, okay, so often people, and especially people that are at the top, whether it's a business or a team or whatever, you look at them and it's like, all right, they're doing something and setting a pace, but that really doesn't affect the people around them because they're focused on themselves, the things they need to do. And then that trickles down because then everybody below them, I mean, look, every organization or team or business rises and falls with the leadership, right? And so your best players or your leaders of your team or organization or business, you know, if they're humble people that are willing to serve the people that are in positions that are below them, now those people that are below them have no other option but to be servants back, right? Because otherwise you get weeded out because you're like, look, if my boss is over here cleaning the toilets, over here, and I'm saying no to it, and I'm too good for it. Well, wait a second here. You know, like that's an issue, right? And so the people at the top have to set the pace, and they have to be willing to do the things still while they're in positions of power or influence to be able to get on the same level as everybody else, and to be able to make them rise up to those levels too.
Very true.
Did you think you really? So you went from Seattle to Philadelphia, and you were captain in Philadelphia?
That's right.
Right when you went there?
So they didn't have captains until the 2017 season. Yeah, it was like
really?
it was an old Eagles thing. I'm not sure
why.
Wait,
just the Eagles or in the
just
NFL
the
in general?
Eagles. Yeah, just the Eagles.
No shit.
It's like an organizational thing, yeah. And then that year they brought it back in 2007.
And they decided to make you one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because you, all these skills and attributes that we're just talking about probably go into being a captain, obviously.
Well, I hope that that's what they saw. But, you know.
100%.
Well, you know, like, you got to be realistic about looking at your role, too, right? So for myself, I was a special teams guy. That was primarily what I did. Came in on defense sparingly, right? When it was like, all right, all of our players are down, and then we can't take that offensive guy.
We'll
okay,
take Chris.
we'll take him. All right, yeah.
Right.
So, we'll take you.
Self-deprecating, I like it.
Yeah. But I had to know my role. My role was completely service-based on our team. I was a special teams player. I ran down on kickoff and punts, and I served our defense to put them in the best position possible. So our D coordinator could now call plays when their offense is backed up, and that changes the game so that they can now punt, which is now here I am on kickoff return and punt return, servicing the offense and saying, hey, we're going to get good returns and put our offense in short fields so that now it makes it easier on our players, our coaches, everybody. So everything that I did was the viewpoint of others in mind, and that was our team, but whether it was the offense or defense. But I had to know my role, and I had to play that. And I had to learn that early on to say, all right, look, you know, I'm playing behind all-pro guys and Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and all these guys. I'm not seeing the field on defense any time. So let me contribute to where I can do my best for what I'm given right now with where I'm at. And I just, you know, try to find a niche and just help any way you can. And then, fortunately, I was able to just continue to rise in my own career. But you got to have the service. So often, if you take care of the needs of others, then a lot of times on the back end, your own things get taken care of. But so often when you focus on yourself, then everything about other people and everything around you just seems to crumble. So I don't know. It's just it's a paradigm shift in your mind that you really have to make.
Too many people are too proud. There's an old saying, I believe you probably know this: "The pride goeth before the fall."
Big time.
And so, if you can get that pride out of the way and have this leadership servant mentality, you trigger this reciprocity, and everybody grows together. It's extreme. How old are you?
Yeah, 36.
So you're 36, and so you're playing 5 years ago, and you already knew this. I mean, this is profound.
It's a lot of trial and error, buddy.
Yeah, but you still got a lot of time.
Come on, Keith. Yeah.
A lot of time.
Oh, man.
All right, so tell us, what was the timeline of the NFL? So you played 2 years in college, so 4 years, you got your degree. You get drafted?
Undrafted, yeah.
Undrafted. What does that look like? So you're not sitting in the room waiting for the phone call?
Yeah, so, well, the 49ers, they were calling me during, like, the 6th round. Hey, we might draft you, And then they took a corner.
Wait, let's back up. For us laymen who've never seen that update, where are you during this? You watching on ESPN like the rest of us?
Yeah, watching on ESPN.
You're with your family?
I'm in my parents' living room, with my friends. You got a little, Jimmy John's platter or whatever.
Hoping your name's called.
Yeah, hoping my name's called. Yeah, exactly. You're sitting there and you're thinking, you're talking with your agent pre-process, and he's saying, I'm here from scouts, 5th to 7th round, maybe undrafted or whatever. Okay, cool. So you kind of know where you're going to be kind of in that range of late round picks to undrafted. So we get in 6th round, I'm getting a call from the 49ers, hey, blah, 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 this and that. And the next thing, okay, cool, we might take you, blah, 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 they don't take you. Anyway, so I go undrafted. So now I'm on the phone with the 49ers, my agent's on the phone with the Cowboys. And we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. So they're exchanging, hey, how much is guaranteed? What's the signing bonus? What are the terms? What other players do you have? What other players are you pursuing as undrafted? Blah, blah, blah. And so it just kind of came down to it. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm making the gut call. And we went with the 49ers. But it was like a high-stress situation because I'm on my phone with my agent. I'm on the phone with the 49ers. And we're kind of like, hey, what's they're saying? Okay, well, what do you, I'm talking to the 49ers.
Do they know you're doing that? Do the 49ers you're doing?
Well, so how it works is after the draft, everybody's going to the top guy at their position. So they're calling them first, right? And they're saying, hey, here's what we're offering you. Are you going to take it now or not? And if I take too much time, and I say no, then they got to go into slot 2 and 3. But if I take too much time, the numbers 2 and 3 on their board probably might be taken already. So they want to know quick, like, where you at, you know?
That's a big decision to have to know quick. How did you even get to the agent part? Where did we miss that? How did you get an agent?
So I was getting calls beforehand, and then, you know, you meet with them and talk to them, and they tell you who they represent.
I want to know about that process, because I think that's something that we do, qualifying customers, qualifying.
Sure.
Do they have your intention? Are they a humble servant?
Sure, yeah.
So who did you end up selecting as your agent?
So I was with Scott Smith, and those
You
guys.
happy with them?
Yeah, no, they're a nice guy, yeah.
All right, shout out Scott Smith. We're not going to bash you. Yeah, okay, good. Is he still in the business?
I don't think he's in the business anymore. Yeah, I switched agents though because he was kind of working and doing some other things, and then I went in a different direction. So
he wasn't 100% committed to Chris Maragos.
Well, yeah, he was, but it's like anybody, sometimes you shift gears or whatever it might be. So he's a really good guy. Then I went to Ryan Tollner. Yep. So Ryan Tollner and
good guy.
Yeah, good guy. Yep.
Shout out Ryan Tollner.
Ryan Tollner. Yep. So,
do you still talk to him?
Yeah, we'll talk here and there. So, but he's got a lot of guys. He represents a lot of players. So. All
right. So you went to the 49ers. Wait, what year was this?
This was 2010.
What year was that Super Bowl?
11. 49ers were in 11.
He was gone from there.
12.
When the lights went off.
Yeah, right. Remember that was with the Ravens, right?
Yeah. The Harbaugh brothers.
Yep, exactly.
All right,
I was in Seattle at that point. Yep.
How long were you in? Did you play?
San Fran. I was in there for 1 year with Mike Singletary. That's the big reason why I chose there. And then Singletary got fired. Harbaugh came in.
Was that the year with what's his name? The tight end. He threw him off the field.
Oh, that was the year before.
Can't win with him. Can't coach him. Can't win.
I'd rather get penalized all the way up there. Yeah, Mike Singletary is a boss. He's a good
right.
Dude, I love
that was Vernon Davis, right?
Vernon Davis.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't win with him.
Yeah. Can't do it. Won't do it. Yeah.
So he was a good coach, players coach.
Yeah, for sure. He like Mike Singletary. His intensity and his words, they just captivate you. I mean, you're done with the game on Sunday, you come in on Monday, like team meeting. It's like, you're 6 more days until you're, going in for the next game. And his speeches and the way that he would speak, you're just like, bro, it's like a pregame speech.
I can go now.
I'm like, we're 6 days out, right? Like, we don't even have the game plan for next week. We're like ready to roll, so
That's
he was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
So 1 year there, then you get traded?
Yeah, 1 year.
What does the trade look like?
Oh, I got released, yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, I got released a few times. I got cut from the team. So my rookie year, I go all the way through training camp, I get released, and I go on the practice squad. And I get activated like halfway at some point during the year for one game. Listen, this is a funny story. You guys want to hear this one?
Yes.
So finally get my big break. I'm on the practice squad. 49ers activate me to the active rosters. We're playing in Carolina against the Panthers. I'm like, oh, this is great. So I'm inactive for the game, so I'm in street clothes. Which, like, looking back on, it's the best thing in the world. Like, I'm getting paid and I'm like, well, okay, right? Like, yeah, this is what the backup quarterback feels like.
Yeah,
right?
I go golfing this afternoon.
You don't even have to hold the clipboard.
Yeah. Exactly, right? So here I am, and the next week, so we go from San Francisco to Carolina, cross country, and then we are playing in London, England the next week. So we're going over to England right from Carolina. So it was like it's like a 10-day ordeal because you're going over there way early. So anyways, we go in Carolina. When we get to London, I get a call in from the GM, and he's like, hey, man, we got to release you. So I'm in London, England.
Over there they did that?
Yeah, I'm in London, England. He's like, I think you're going to clear waivers, so you got like 2 days where we can't have any contact, like a 48-hour period where you're on waivers, or 24 or something. I can't remember the exact. So he's like, you got to just sit in your hotel room, like we're going to go to practice, the team, and you just chill out. So I'm in London, England, and we were like way out, like not even in like the city. So I'm just hanging out. All of a sudden, I clear waivers. Like, all right, so I go back on the practice squad. So Adam Schefter tweets out, and he's like, rookie safety or something like that. Chris Maragos gets released while the team's in England. He's like, that must be a really long flight back or something, all the way back to San Francisco. I'm like, thanks, Adam, appreciate you, buddy. Like, this adds salt to the wound, right? Yeah, pretty funny though. So it's something to laugh about.
That is funny, especially coming from a guy who can't even play a sport. What did that feel like when, because you're finally accepted to a team, and this is big time, and you're young, and you travel not across country, but across the, to another continent, and then to get released. Like, how does that feel? Because imagine being in business, hey, Jay, company's going a different direction, so see ya, and then tomorrow, no, we want you to come back.
It's almost like the it's not you, it's me type thing.
But now I'm ready for us
But I
again.
still like it. Yeah. You know what? We want to be married, but then you know what? Let's just go back to being engaged. You know?
That doesn't ever work out. So how do you feel?
You know what? It's you learn the business quick, right? And you realize that sports is a business, is what it is, right? And so, like any team or organization, they're going to do in the best interest of them, right, and what they need. So I can't fault it. But you know, you're human still, so you understand that you got emotions, and you obviously feel like you're the best option, and you're upset and all the above, and you know, discouraged and encouraged because they're going to bring you back, but they're not. And so for you just got to say, hey, listen, like at the end of the day, I got to make sure that from here on out, in this position, that I provide so much value that they cannot cut me, because I will have such a demand somewhere else, or I will leave such a void on this team that they can't even think about parting ways. And that's where the mindset comes.
Good for you.
What can I do?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's impactful.
Yeah.
We'll be using that for sure. That's impactful.
That's right.
Go ahead, Jay.
So that very mental strength you're talking about, I mean, so we talked a little bit earlier about how, you know, we saw you on the plane and you're sitting back with us, right? And,
Yep.
and you've made lots of money over your career.
I've been fortunate. Yeah, I'm very grateful.
But you're not a flashy guy. You're kind of humble and down to earth. How difficult is it to maintain that discipline, you know, to be financially responsible, especially with I'm sure a lot of your peers were not quite that same way.
The statistics aren't in your favor.
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, think about it, man. You're 21, 22, 23 years old, and then you're making NFL money, and it's like, man, if you don't have a good base or a good backing, it's like, what do you do with that? You just do what you want, right?
Right.
But, you know, for me, it's like money's never been something that's controlled me and been something that's been extremely important, necessary. Obviously, it has its place, and it's something that we all need.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah, but you can't let that tool get out of control. And it's like anything good in our lives, right? It's like you think about, like, you know, the competitiveness. Like anything good that we have, money or family or friends, if those things get out of the right context, they can become idols, or they can become things that deter you from what you want to do or where you want to go, right? And so everything that we have has to just be placed in its right context. And like you said, a tool and a vessel to be used for its purpose and for something. And hopefully you can do it for your family or for others or whatever, and of course enjoy it along the way, right? But not something that is so consumable for you that you're motivated by it. Because I realize that the external things in my life or that this world has to offer, if those things become your motivation, what happens when they go away? Then what? Are you unmotivated now? Or are you intrinsically motivated? Or does me just saying, okay, if I, you know, make a bunch of money here because I'm an NFL player, that's the type of thing that motivates me. Well, guess what? Now when the money leaves, am I not motivated to be great or to do things? Or do I do this because I love it, right? Or do I do it to make an impact on other people's lives? Or do I do it for the greater good of other people and a team and whatever? So your motivation has to be something different than external situations. Because externally, things change all the time, right? It's cloudy one day, it's nice one day, it's, you know, one day your wife's happy with you, maybe one day she's not, right? Maybe one day your kids are having a good day and they're having good grades, and one day they're not. So it's like we can't have external things motivate us. We have to be internally motivated by something else to make sure that we don't fluctuate with those things. So
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
That's
unbelievable.
I learned the hard way a lot, believe me.
Well, we're there too. We like to learn every lesson the hard way.
Oh.
We were actually discussing on a podcast recently how statistically, handing somebody that's never had any money whatsoever that volume could actually do more damage to them than they'll allow themselves to believe.
Totally.
100%.
100%. No doubt.
So that's really good.
No doubt. No doubt.
So now take us here. So you've had this whole incident in London.
Yep.
Your time with the 49ers eventually comes to an end, and
Yep.
you end up in Seattle. How many years were you there before you hit the Super Bowl?
3 years in Seattle. My
3
third
years.
my third year we
Your
won the
third
Super
year?
Bowl in Seattle.
Okay.
Yep. That was my fourth NFL season. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. Good time, man. The city was rocking. It was cool.
I mean, I can't even imagine. What was that like? Like your first Super Bowl, you're finally like, this is what I've dreamed
In the
about my
street
whole life.
every time Maragos for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you picture yourself running out there on the field, and I'm like, bro, I'm going to do this. The coolest thing was probably the game before at the NFC Championship game, because we played the 49ers, which was my old team. But that was the game that Richard Sherman tipped it, and then the whole Crabtree thing. Was
that's right.
That was the game. And so they were rivals of ours because they're in the same division, NFC West. Seattle and San Francisco are NFC West. So it's a super big game. We already played them twice earlier in the year. But after that game, the way that it ended, it was like euphoric because it was such a cool ending. But you're sitting there and you're going, man, like you're celebrating with your family and friends. You're like, we're really going to the Super Bowl. Like the anticipation, the excitement was so cool, like just to do it. Obviously, playing in the game was great, but the anticipation and like finally that realization of like we're going to the biggest game of your career, your profession. It's super cool, man. You can't even express it really.
And running out of the tunnel out onto the field, you had your family there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, you just black out, man. You're just like, what just happened? You get the silence, you're like, whoa. Yeah.
How long before it just turns into another game?
Pretty quickly, yeah. And you realize too, because you put it on this pedestal, like I'm playing the Super Bowl, it's such a big thing, but you realize that like you're playing, like for us, it was the Denver Broncos. It was like, all right, we played this team, and then you get into the game, and it's just like a normal game with bigger circumstances.
Yeah,
those,
yeah,
right?
the hype
Right.
is there too.
Yeah, the hype's there, the circumstances, all that. So
You want to play some of the video? Or you got another question? You want to play some of the video?
Yeah,
I'll do it. Yeah. Fire up.
you guys got video here?
Yeah, we want to show
You
you
know
some
what?
video.
This video is brought to you by Celsius. Right
No, we're going to ask
There
you
we
if
go.
this is pass or run.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like it. Okay, I thought we were, yeah.
I was telling Jay, though, when you invited me over that one time to watch football,
Yeah, remember that?
I says the one thing that impressed me most about, other than the fact that you invited me over to your house to watch football, which was really cool.
Of course, standing offer.
Was you doing the color commentating, like you were explaining the defenses to us, and you knew what was happening before it was happening. It was unbelievable because I never had that experience while watching a game with somebody, and especially with a pro to do that. It was really cool.
Yep.
That was really cool.
Oh man.
Let's.
All right, so am I getting quizzed here?
No,
I like it.
We
Let's do it. Let's
we
do it.
flipped up
We
some
just
things.
cool stuff.
We do want to ask you because, I mean, that's kind of an iconic place. So there's been some other people that have run up those stairs before.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa is kind of cool.
Yeah,
you know.
You get jerked out. So what we want to ask you about this was what did that feel like? Because now here you're faced with no opposition. You're with your fans. You're with your teammates.
Yeah.
And who tells you that you're going up there? Because you're not. When they have captains on football teams, is it just one captain? There's usually a couple.
There was
right?
there was 5 of us that year.
Did everybody else speak, or did you
There's
get elected to do
a
that?
few key players on the team spoke. There was maybe 10, 11 of us, just kind of guys that kind of had it. So it was fun. It was quite the honor. And
I was going to say, is this a highlight of your career here?
100%. Yeah,
I would think so too, because you get
big
to
highlight.
speak with the people. Like this is where you're outside of the game. Like we're celebrating together, and the way you talked to the fans was really cool. I bet they love you.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to run through a brick wall.
Yeah, I know. After watching it, it was cool.
I love the fans. Philly fans they got a special place in my heart. They're the best. I mean,
Passionate.
Very passionate. My wife and I chose to live in South Philadelphia, in the city, for that reason. It's like we wanted to be amongst all the fans and the people, and a lot of the people that are in Philadelphia, they're like me. They're just hardworking, blue collar people that just want to work hard, and so it's it was fun, really fun times for our families. It's time of our lives for sure.
Are you what is it, Geno's and Patsy's?
Oh yeah.
Which one do you go to?
You know what? I usually go to both.
Oh, yeah, smart. Chris is going to get in politics soon here in Philadelphia. So
but I'm you know what? They're good for different reasons.
Okay. Touche.
Yeah, but both staples for sure. But there's definitely some really good places there, no doubt.
So I got to know. This obviously was the end of the 2018 season.
Yeah, 17 and 18. Yep.
17 and 18. So you're kind of at the pinnacle of your career. Year prior, you just become an All-Pro, and now you go into week 6?
Yeah, week 6, I believe it was.
Week 6, and you're tackling Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, quick bugger.
And man, just destroy your knee.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of a weird situation, and man, if you would have just been a little bit slower.
Yeah, it's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
maybe now, but
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So, you get to your second Super Bowl. You win the Super Bowl, and you're up there giving this speech to the city of Philadelphia. Are you, in your mind, are you thinking already that this may be the end, my career may be over?
Oh no, not at all. No, we had the expectation that I was coming back after this, and that was kind of the disheartening thing about it. You know, is you have an injury and it was fixable, and just unfortunate circumstances that kind of came around it. And everybody had the expectations. All the doctors that were presiding over me, myself. I mean, we were all under the impression that it was coming back, and it's just what it was, you know. And so,
right.
You know, it was unfortunate end to my career, and unfortunately, it just prematurely ended. You know, earlier than what I thought it would. But you know what, life, you know, things don't always go the way you want. And man, would I be loved to play now or, you know, longer? Absolutely. But I'm fortunate for the time that I had, and I wish it would have been longer. Could have been longer, but hey, it's just how it goes.
Could have been shorter.
Could, yeah. I mean, there's a number of things, right? You know, yeah. So it's
could have never happened.
No regrets.
Could have never happened. You know, I could have been a walk-on, and you know, just never had the right opportunity in the NFL or whatever it was. So yeah, I met so many great people along the way. So many great teammates, lifelong friends, so many great coaches, guys. You know, just really, really fortunate, amazing opportunities like speaking up here in front of the fans, and
that's
it's once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, like who gets to do that? And
not too many people.
Yeah. So for me, it's, you know, you have a situation where, you know, could have been bitter about the situation because of the facts that surrounded it.
Sure.
But you know what? I just decided to get better about it and just say, hey, this is not going to let this control my life and look back. I'm just going to look forward. You know, and that's kind of the way you got to take things, and it takes life.
I second that. I hope everybody takes something positive from that. I think, yeah, when you start living over your shoulder like that, that's a depressing spot to be in.
Oh yeah, it was tough.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change any of the circumstances.
Yeah, there was a really, really difficult period in time that I went through in my life for sure, because, you know, you're sitting there thinking like, man, like I should be playing, and this was fixable, and just it wasn't. And I was progressed in my rehabilitation when I shouldn't have been, and it's just what it was, and that led to the demise, not only for my career but also, you know, my knee in general, for my health. And so, you know, you a lot of times you can sit there and think why or what ifs or whatever, but you can't. You got to just take it and say, all right, this is really unfortunate. Sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes things don't go or happen the way you want for whatever reason, and you got to just take the hand that's played to you.
How much of a hole was left on not having the camaraderie and the teammates and the running out of the tunnel?
Yeah, certainly difficult. I mean, look, like
a year?
Like everybody. Oh no, I mean, I'm still working through. You know, a lot of I went through a really hard mental time because it was an extreme abrupt end to my career, and I went through some really aggressive surgeries, which were really difficult, that were unexpected. So you're left with, not only are you kind of ripped out of those situations, but now here you are dealing with like physical and health situations that you weren't expecting, and now all of a sudden you're thinking, man, what is my life going to even be like? What are my limitations going to be? What's going to be my new normal? You know, obviously here I am thinking I'm coming back to play, and I'm not, and then it's just like big shocker. So I went through a really, really difficult time trying to figure out, you know, hey, how do I pick this up, and what is going to be the future, because it was very uncertain. But the one thing I knew is that I knew God had me, and that, you know, I was very certain that that regardless of all the good times I had and the bad times, I still knew that He was good, and I knew I had a great family support system around me too that was gonna help me too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
But yeah, it brought me to the end, man. It was tough, very difficult for sure. So,
I can see that happening. I mean, not to that level, but you know, we live and die by this. But this next month will be 20 years of us working side by side down here in Florida.
How cool is that?
And during COVID, when we had to shut down for 30 days and go home, I'm telling you, I was not mentally prepared for that. And I'm an ambitious person. I like to build. I love our camaraderie. I like being with the people. And it didn't. I was getting depressed, massive anxiety. I could see where.
Very difficult.
That's you with gasoline on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
At what you're doing. So I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm laying in bed going, man, what just happened to my knee? Here I am thinking I'm playing. Now I'm having these aggressive surgeries, and I know I'm having multiple in the future too. And it's like there's a whole plan. It's just like, man, this was not how I expected this to be. And it's a big shocker. Yeah, and it was tough. So, but you know what? Like you said, you can get bitter about situations or get better about them. And it took a long time to still process, you know. I just had knee replacement surgery 4 months ago, and so now I'm still doing rehab. And this was 2017. We're in into 2023.
6 years.
6 years of just rehab and surgery.
People beat cancer sooner than that sometimes.
And pain, and I'm still in it, so it's still not even done yet. So my life looks drastically different than what it did before. But, again, like I said, it's just external search situations, and you got to just internally just do the best you can with it. And that's what I'm trying to do.
You got good family.
That's right.
Wife, kids. You got plenty of things keeping you busy.
Yes. Yep. So just trying to stay busy and doing a lot of coaching down in the area down here. Trying to get back now and to kids and just help the next generation. Try to reach some of the great moments that I had that I can look back on and appreciate. Whether it was Super Bowl games or it was friends or those relationships that I had, hopefully you can set the trajectory for those kids to hopefully experience those same things that I was fortunate to do.
And also be prepared if they don't go that way, because that's what I'm taking most about this conversation is how heady you are on that. Let's okay.
Speaking of knees, my knees hurt
yes,
watching this.
I know. This is
it's pretty badass.
Man. This is funny. There it is. Look at that.
The scoop.
Let's
and
unpack this.
score.
But what's going on here? Is this this is Neon? Dion would be jealous of that.
Oh man, you know what?
Wait.
Yeah, don't put that one yet.
That's even better.
That's funny. We had a pump block that we felt really good about.
What made you feel good about it? What I hear guys say that. What was good about it? The way they lined up?
It's the way they line up, what the personnel is doing. You look at everything: their footwork, their stance, their exit angle on the snap. What we're going to do,
looking for
how
a
we're
tell.
going to rush it, looking for any tell on film, all that stuff.
Oh, so even before the game.
Yeah, so you're seeing what is this guy doing? Here's the rushes that we're going to do. Here's the things that we feel good about. And we had some really good players on our special teams unit that year. I mean, we were number one in the NFL. And I think over the last 20-some years, this guy, Rick Gosling, he's like a special teams guy who breaks all down. We've been one of the top units. If you take the top units of the last 20-some years, that was a really, really good unit. We were, if you span all the years of the top units, we were one of the tops of the top looking back. But we just had really great players and felt like it was a good block. And honestly, the ball, if you look back on that, the ball just bounced my way. And really unselfish teammates. I mentioned Malcolm Jenkins. He could have easily picked that ball up, but his back was turned to the end zone. And I think he saw me, and we talked about it, but he didn't go for it, and I did, so I had the clear path to the end zone.
Is that your only touchdown?
That's my only touchdown
in the NFL.
In the NFL, yeah. Yep, that's the only one. So, but you see, that's a small little detail, but you see a selfless guy that does that is the betterment for the team. And so I get the glory for it, but guess what? 3 other guys pulled other guys out of the block space to allow 2 guys to come up the middle. A different guy blocked it. The ball trickled to my side, which I actually get blocked on this play. I wasn't even really involved in the block. And then I had an unselfish teammate that didn't scoop it up because he knew his back was turned and let me go get it to bring it in. So you see the byproduct of, Chris Maragos scores a touchdown, but the reality of it is there was 11 guys, a coach, a bunch of coaches. Our defense did a good job. They're backed up, so we even had the chance to rush. Because if they're around the 50 or in a position, you do a return instead. So it's a whole microcosm. So when I look at an athlete, you can't take a lot of pride in what you do individually because there's so many pieces that go into a play happening for somebody, right? And so, I got to score a touchdown, and it was a great moment in my career. But you can enjoy the moment because you did it with your teammates.
Yes.
And you appreciate what they did to help you. Yeah. And hopefully you can help them succeed and have other plays too.
Well, I think a big part of that is the communication we talked about earlier.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. Communication, trust, that closeness and relationship. And then that's when the selflessness comes because you trust each other. That's when great teams come together. And honestly, in my opinion, in pro sports, that's really hard to do because so much of it is about whose contract is what. Am I a free agent coming up this year? Am I just trying to get my stats? Am I trying to get film? So hard to build that camaraderie. Teams are always changing. Guys are getting cut. New guys are coming in season. So to build that chemistry in that core is very difficult in pro sports because of the way that the collective bargaining agreements are, salary caps, all that stuff. And so when you can get that and build that, you see the stability, and that's why greatness happens. That's why the Patriots have been good for so long. They had a core group of guys. Look like McCourty twins. You got, all these staple guys. Matthew Slater, who's like the gold standard in the NFL.
Brewski.
Right?
Yeah.
Brewski, you know, you look at James White guy. You know, James White, how unselfish was he all those years, right?
Yeah.
Great, solid player, right?
Never anything negative either. Just lunch pail type of guy. Do my job.
Come to work, yeah. Great player. He's Tom Brady, right? Like you got these guys that, the GOAT. He is, believe me. And I got no problem saying it. Yep. But yeah, so you look at that and you go, man, you know, it's really cool. That's how sports teams on a pro level come together and be great, and that's how those sports teams become dominant for so long. That's why they had a dynasty. That's just what it is.
So that was your only career touchdown.
Yep.
I saw that in your career stats that you actually had one offensive carry.
Yeah, I think I did actually.
I couldn't find a video.
What happened?
Can we cut this video here or what? You know?
We try to find it. They scrubbed it.
Yeah.
You must have an inside track at YouTube.
Yeah, so they decided to say, Chris is such a good athlete, we're going to take out Marshawn Lynch and put him at running back and give him the ball. Yeah, believe me, that's not how it worked. I think the punt was blocked, probably my fault. And I somehow scooped it up and just got clobbered for like a negative loss play. That was probably my record. That's probably what that stat is. I can't remember it. Thank God I can't, right?
We have it.
Oh, you do?
No. We don't want to clown you.
Oh, okay, all right. No, put it on. Let's go. I actually want to see it. Do you have it?
We can pull it
I
off.
couldn't find it.
I
couldn't find it, no.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. The punt got blocked. Probably was my fault. I scooped it up, just shaking in my boots, and
can't believe this is happening.
No, I know what it is now. All right, I know what it is. Yep,
I think you kind of did the same thing next star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny what happened.
I don't recall.
Yeah.
Hey, lucky for you, we can't find that video either.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we, okay, I remember exactly what it was. So this is, you guys want to hear the story?
Yes,
we have time for it?
Yeah, of course.
It's probably 5 minutes. All right, so I'm ascending in my career in Seattle. This is probably what it is. It's the only thing I can think of, but I'm pretty sure it is. I'm ascending in my career in Seattle, right? I'm starting to break out special teams wise, like around league circles, around the league. Like I'm starting to become a top guy. Like really, this is great, right? So our team's really good. So Tennessee Titans are playing us in Seattle, and we score a touchdown and we kick the ball off, and they broke through our line, and our kicker went in to go tackle the guy. He's concussed right now, Stephen Hauschka. So we're like, all right, so our kicker's out. So our defense forces a quick 3-and-out. Our offense gets the ball, and they're driving down the field. So now our kicker can't kick at this point. So we're thinking, hey, we might have to kick a field goal here. So our punter's like, well, I can kick a field goal if we get close enough. So like, okay, well, we need a holder, right? And so Pete Carroll comes down the sidelines. Has anybody held it ever in their career? So I'm like, yeah, I've had, NFL, more you can do, right? Like, and just so happens, I think I was the center article in the pregame magazine or whatever. So either writing stories about me now, this is my big moment, right? So same game. So here I am. And I'm like, yeah, I can hold. So we're on the sidelines. I'm working with the snappers, and our punter's there. He's walking it off. And Erin Andrews is right there. She's sideline reporting. Oh, Stephen Hauschka, he's out with concussion. Chris Maragos is in there now holding. I'm over there. Snapper's giving me laces. I'm spinning it like it's nothing. Putting it down.
Laces out.
Yeah, laces out, Dan. So I'm getting the ball. Laces are back to the punter. I'm spinning it, putting it down. The kicker's kicking into the net. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the hero.
Career,
yeah, new career. I might just do this for 20 years. This would be great. I'll eat hot dogs at halftime and just hold the ball.
Chill.
Yeah, just chill out. So, anyways, so here I am, and so our offense is getting down. They stall out. It's I don't even know. It's a shorter field goal. So they're like, Pete Carroll's like, all right, guys, let's go. There's no time left. There's 3 seconds before the half, right? So all right, this is great. This is moving up. So we go out there, and you ever seen those movies where a guy gets in a position before something happens, the wind picks up and they start shaking or whatever.
Oh, you can just feel the energy change.
You can feel the atmospheric pressure change.
Yeah.
I wasn't nervous because I did this in college at Wisconsin. I ran some fake field goals. I scored a touchdown against Ohio State. I did this before. It wasn't it was something I'd never done, so I wasn't nervous about it. But so the issue is this. the normal balls, you Patriots fans, we're gonna talk about
Here we go.
Okay, all right, okay. So the normal balls, like, you know, they got grip on them and stuff like that. But the kickers, what they do is they scrub the balls down and make them nice and soft. So when they kick it, it's so the kicker balls are different than a normal ball that's got like the dimples and the grips on them. Yeah, they scrub them and then they use this mud and all this kind of stuff. So anyways, so I'm sitting there and right before he goes, you lick your fingers, you know, I'm down, so I give him the hand or whatever, and my hand is like dry as a bone, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So the snap comes back. I catch it clean. So remember, I got this kicking ball. There's no dimples. It's like a wet bar of soap. So I grab it and I go to put it down on the tee, and I'm squeezing it, and it literally just squirts out of my hand like an ice cube. It squirts out of your hand like that, and I'm like, oh no, because I wasn't thinking this would ever happen. So the ball's trickling around on the ground, and our punter kind of stops, who's now our kicker, and I'm like, I grab it, and I just I'm in an out of a body experience, right? So I pick up the ball and I just roll out, and I'm yelling fire, fire, fire. Well, nobody's rolling out. So I'm like, fire, 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 fire. So now I'm running, and I got 11 grown men just running after me. Yeah, just want to kill me, and nobody's rolling out. So I'm like, okay, what do? I'm like, just throw it away, Chris. This is the first thing that goes in my mind. So I cock back to throw it. Backside cornerback comes in, attacks my elbow, knocks me over, strips the ball, picks it up, runs it in for a touchdown with no time left right before halftime.
Oh, fuck.
But the worst part is you got to stay in for the field goal block, right? And I'm the guy who calls out all of our field goal block calls for our team. None of my teammates want to talk to me. So now all of the guys are getting ready to run into, it's 3 seconds left. They're thinking, we'll kick the field goal, we're going to walk off the field. So they're all standing by the tunnel waiting to see the kick. So now all of a sudden they score on us. They're all their shoulder pads are kind of unstrapped and stuff. So they're coming out all, in shambles over there, putting the helmet on, trying to go out for the extra point for Tennessee. And I'm yelling out the kick. No, I'm yelling out what our block's going to be because I have to do that. No one look at me. No one talking. Oh, it's the worst moment.
One play.
Well, that was my run rush. Yeah, that was probably it right there. Oh, it was horrible. I'll never forget it.
And that same game, did you know before the game that you were the centerpiece in that article? It's almost like the kiss of the Madden curse on.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. I was like, really? I was like, oh my god! I'm so
you got your test.
Yeah, the worst part is when you go see your family out there. It's and they're all like, "Oh, great game, Chris," and you're just looking at them going, "You know what, guys? Just better just to not say anything right now than to do this."
Was that one of the worst moments, other than the injury, actual playing?
That was a low light.
Unexpected.
Yeah, that was a low light, and there was one other one. We were playing the Rams one year, and that was another low light. But that was actually a good lesson for me for my life. But those are probably two of my lower.
What did you take away from the Seattle, the snapping? What lesson did you take away from that?
Yeah. Just stick to defense, and just a pass breakup is a good thing. And if you drop the ball when you're on offense, it's a bad thing.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
And so the worst possible scenario happened to you. It wasn't that you just fumbled the snap. It was for a touchdown.
You know what? Here's what I would say.
Did you guys end up winning that game?
We ended up winning, which was great.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. And guess what? Nobody remembers except for me and now, glass guy over here.
And hopefully 10 million people on YouTube.
Yeah. Brought to you by Celsius.
Celsius, you can reach out for sponsors.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I need a 10% cut of that.
Done.
But yeah, man. You know what I learned about that though is that sometimes you got to put yourself out there, right? And sometimes you fail, sometimes you do well. But you know what? If you never try, then you know what? You're going to sit on the sideline all throughout life. So I would always rather be on the aggressive end and try to do something than not. And that's just the way I've always lived.
Keep making decisions. It's like Jordan. I always bring this one up. I always talk about Jordan's got the most game-winning shots. What they always forget to say is he also has the most missed game-winning shots.
Right, yeah.
And you just got to keep shooting.
I forget who says it, but it's better to try and fail than to never try at all, right?
100%.
And that's, it makes for a really good story now.
Absolutely. We appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Show your kids this. We'll play that other video.
Okay, so
what do we got here?
I just want to touch on something real quick. So we had a little correspondence with you a couple years ago. Yep. You're an entrepreneur now.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that and how you got into that.
Yeah. So I'm in the car wash industry. Yeah. So it's
like Marvin Harrison.
Oh yeah, kind of, right? Yeah, he is too, right?
He is.
Yeah, I heard that. So yeah, you know what? I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and and everything kept kind of coming back to the car wash industry. And my brother-in-law, Alec West, shout out to you, Alec. He does a great job with us, and he runs all the operations. He's really smart, does all the machinery, fix-it stuff, and I thought, man, this would be a great thing to run a business with, and got really lucky, found a really great site, and worked out great. So.
What's the name of the business?
Pro Shine Express Car Wash.
And where is it?
That's in Southgate, Michigan.
Southgate, Michigan,
Yep.
which we actually have some
Detroit area.
ties to Michigan.
Yeah.
We sponsor
NIL.
Oh, yeah.
NIL player.
Yep.
Yep.
Nice.
First one in the state of Florida, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he plays at the University of Michigan.
Nice.
He's junior year he's going into.
Junior year.
Yeah,
Really?
so hopefully
Yep.
he'll be
Wow,
starting.
that's
this
great,
year.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Peter
Excellent.
Simmons, number 70.
There you go.
And
Perfect.
he started on offense, went to defense.
Nice.
So, are you having plans to expand the car wash business into other locations?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's
Naples on the
It's
docket?
like, I mean, you never know. I mean, I think you'd be foolish to never not at least consider or think of anything, right?
Right.
I mean, just like you guys. I mean, say, hey, would you guys ever go to Turkey and put glass up? I don't know.
The price is right. We'll fly tonight.
Yeah, I mean, right, yeah. I mean, certainly, right? So, you know, we've learned a lot. We've both been really heavily invested in this venture, time, money, expertise, talent.
How many
whatever it
employees?
is. We got 10, I think, right now.
And are you going out of your way to bring everything that you're telling us that Cam Chancellor and yourself and all the other people that you revere in football, are you bringing that environment to the business?
Yeah, and that's it.
And are they receiving it well?
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. You know, my
you
brother.
pay attention to your turnover? Not a lot of turnover?
Yep, pay attention to our turnover. Our main guys stay. You know, you got high school kids that come in and they're turning over because they're moving out of college or they're starting a sport or something for that season of the year. But we got employees that have been there from day one and they've been there the whole time, and those are really our main guys. So, yeah, Jerry and Donald, good to see you. Yeah, so shout out to you guys.
Okay, the name of the business again?
Pro Shine Express Car Wash.
Pro Shine Express Car Wash.
That's right.
I saw the plans for it. The place looks, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like
Have
one of
you
these
seen it?
little.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would
In
equate
plan
it.
form.
What's that?
I said we've seen it in plan form.
I would say that this car wash has the same impact that the Dallas Cowboys' new stadium. Like it's
That's
like
right, yeah, that's,
that
I like that.
of the car
That's
wash.
a great comparison. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
all the glass. It's got this.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know,
beautiful-
Dallas Cowboy Stadium, Pro Shine Express Car Wash.
It's the 10th
Mutually
wonder of the world.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Move aside, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, you gotta start wearing fur coat when you
Yeah,
go out
that's
there.
right. Yeah, exactly.
So one of the other things we saw some of these videos everywhere with you doing a little bit of a behind the mic, behind the camera type
No,
work.
yeah.
And
But I've seen
I
other
was-
people do that. Yeah, that was impressive.
oh, this is good. I mean, this is really good.
Do you-
Oh, this was a good one
And
right here.
It-
This
it-
was a fun time.
It begs the question: are you looking to get behind the camera somewhere?
Yeah,
kind
I
of
would
continue
Speak
life
well,
in the
You know the
NFL.
business. You miss that atmosphere. Have you thought about
If
it?
somebody can call them potentially, yeah, we'll see. I'm enjoying I missed a lot of times with this knee situation with my kids and my wife, and so you know, like I mentioned to you guys, I'm still rehabbing now. It's 6 years later almost, you know, so trying to give a lot of time back to them that we kind of missed and my kids' childhood and stuff. So, but you know, it's something that, you know, as we start transitioning and looking here, you know, potentially could be. So yeah, we'll see.
So you're not saying no.
I'm not saying no, but nothing right now. On the
So you're
horizon.
saying there's a chance?
Saying there's like 1 in a million.
Yeah. This
That's
was
right.
hilarious. Go ahead, hit it.
So yeah, I love this.
So I was testing true Eagles fans if they knew the numbers of the players.
Do you
Right.
know all the because when he was saying this, I was like, I wonder if he actually knows every guy and their
Oh yeah,
number.
for sure.
What?
Just ears. 42.
A lot of crickets for
Yeah, but
42.
This is great.
What you did was smart here. I want to unpack it.
42. Play safety, special teams. Chris Maragos. God, what do you think of him? We can trade him.
Do you think he?
Now, wait,
Do you think he knew right
Did he
there?
know you? Okay,
No.
I know he didn't know you, but right at that point, do you think he did, or you're like, we
No,
can trade him?
He didn't know.
But you didn't clown him either. You said, well, what do you think we could get from him? Which I thought was smart.
Yeah.
Because
I want to
then
see
he
the
put
value.
you over.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I want to see the value.
I would have wanted to do the same thing.
That's
well,
right.
but, like, trade me for what? A bag of cones?
Yeah,
or
I mean,
no,
come
first
on.
rounder.
First rounder. Hey, listen.
Respect.
You know what? I'll take it.
Was that before a game or after a game?
This was at the NFL draft was held in Philadelphia. So this is what, April? Is it?
Oh,
Is that when the draft
okay.
is? Yeah. So this was in April. So we were back in Philadelphia doing our off-season OTAs and mini camps, and the draft was in Philadelphia. So the organization had asked me just to kind of go around and be around and stuff. So that was kind of impromptu. I mean, they didn't really ask me to do something like that. I was like, hey, this would be really funny if we did it.
It's gold.
And it was kind of like a spur of the moment type thing, and it kind of took out. It was funny. So.
When they saw that, did they like it?
Yeah, they loved it. Yeah, they thought everybody thought it was hilarious. Yeah.
Was that now? Did that come first, or was? Well, it must have come first, and then you and Matt Collins, they saw it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, at the Super Bowl. Yep. So me and Matt Collins were at the Super Bowl. So I think this was before the 2000. I gotta look back, but I think this was before the 2017 season. Yep. So this was probably spring of 17, maybe. But yeah, it was. That was a good time. And then Matt Collins and I, we were walking around the Super Bowl because they got the media row, and everybody's wearing funny hats and dressed up like hot dogs and weird stuff, right? At the Super Bowl, media event. So we were going around doing funny stuff too, which you got to enjoy the moments too, right?
100%. And you do something like that to a fan. That fan's never gonna forget.
Oh
it,
yeah,
ever.
for sure. Yeah.
No, you're his favorite player now.
100%.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
By default, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've done that to us.
Till he gets a first rounder.
Yeah, it's a first
I'll take it, man. Like, look, you don't want me on the team, but you want a first rounder for me. That's like love and hate at the same time, right? It's like,
what was the last one that we wanted to play?
You're gonna show that play in here? You're gonna show that?
It's unbelievable.
As a Patriots
Can we
fan?
pull it up, Jake?
Yeah, we can pull it
find
up.
while we're talking?
Was this Darren Sproles, first of all? Did you just blow up Darren Sproles there?
I'm not sure who this
Right
is.
there. Oh my guys, look at that.
Oh,
Kind of
so
forgot
great.
about the play for a second, but you're hyped up, huh? Look at this.
Yeah.
Chris, do you watch any of your plays after? I mean, I know you're a humble guy, but I feel like I'd be watching something.
I haven't seen that in years.
That's because you're not a humble guy.
I haven't seen that in years, honestly. It's obviously you watch the film after games and correct stuff and find ways you can get better. A lot of this stuff, man, I haven't seen this stuff.
All right, while Jay pulls this up, I want to ask you an HR question.
Yeah.
Culture is obviously the most important thing here at our business because without people or teammates or players, you got no business.
Nothing, right?
So HR is a very intricate role within the business. When you guys are onboarding rookies, this rookie hazing or the singing or all this other nonsense that we see, is there anything that stuck out to you over the years that you saw or maybe you had to do yourself that was like people should know about?
You know what? It's fun because as a team, you want to break guys in and kind of bring them into the fold, but you want to do it in a way that uplifts and has fun, but doesn't necessarily kind of crush them. And so. We had a lot of great moments with the guys, and I think that starts with the top of the leaders on the team. Making sure that you're setting a good culture, and hey, man, we're gonna crack on each other a little bit, but we're gonna have fun doing it in a good way, right? And so we would always like our rookie talent shows, or like when they would sing and stuff, would be so funny, and the stuff they would do, or guys would sing real bad or miss their words, and we'd throw bottles at them and just boo them off, like stuff like that. So. There was always great moments. Obviously, when you're on the road and doing things, you're all away from your family, so you're messing around on the airplane and and doing stuff like that, and experiencing different cities and checking out the culture there, which is always great. And so those moments were always the really fun ones. And I was fortunate to play on some really fun teams with some really great players and good guys, and just it makes the time of your life, to kind of enjoy that. So really appreciate the moments, no doubt.
That camaraderie's got to be like second to none. Is that it?
No, but I think I just came across something.
There it is, right? That's it. That's the play.
Oh my God.
That's it. That's it right there.
That's it.
Well, let's see if the play-by-play what I said. All right, I'll give you the. Okay, here I am. I'm down there. Okay, here's about when the gust of wind comes up. My hand's getting real dry right here, right there.
Oh no! Fire! Fire!
Fire! No one rolling out.
Did you just want to curl up in a sewer and die?
So no, watch me running.
Block.
Watch me running from the back. I think I come into the screen. I'm sure I do. There,
right there.
Oh, I was like.
You at least wanted to make an effort, like
I couldn't just watch them. I had to just give everything I had at that moment to try to get back. Yeah, it was.
Wow, Maragos.
Yeah, it was. That was a tough moment, but you know what? Hey, it's how it goes. You learn from it. You learn from it for sure.
This to me is when I tell people about you and how I met you, and after I explain how down to earth you are and everything, this is the one play that I talk about. Maybe because the Patriots are close to me, but it's such a dominating team. Like, I just want to know what that feeling was like, because you know who they were at that point. And for you to do something like that had to be massive.
Yeah, it was. You know, you're playing Tom Brady in Foxborough. And I think the game was in November, and they had lost maybe like a couple times at home in the last however many years.
Yeah,
it was
not
pretty drastic. Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. Oh my God!
This was right before halftime.
How much you trying? Look at you blocking.
Yeah, we were all fired up. That was a big play for our team. That's how I remember. It was a momentum builder, and we ended up scoring twice on special teams and once on defense. We had 21 points in that game on special teams and defense, and we ended up winning in Foxborough. That was a big moment for us. It really catapulted us. I think this was 2016 season. I think it was. You know, so
we tried to see how many times the Patriots had blocked punts, and I don't know that we found too many. Like, at all.
They really emphasize special teams on their team, and they have great players. I mean, they have the go to special teams, Matthew Slater. He's the best special teams player of all time, in my opinion. And he's still playing. I think he's in year like 17. I think he is. Yeah.
What is the skill set that makes someone that good?
Yeah.
Is it the communication?
You know what? It is communication. It's mind. It's his mind. Matthew Slater is so good, obviously, because he's a great player, but his mind is it's elite. I mean, the way he views angles, the way that he attacks guys, the way that he tackles returners. I mean, the techniques he uses are amazing. I mean, the guy is so fundamentally sound, and he's just, anything you do to combat what he's doing, he's just got tricks of the trades to beat you. And that's what makes a good guy like that, and makes a great player. And the New England Patriots have championed those players and those positions on special teams for so many years. And that's why they're always in it in any game, because they're going to play great on defense, they're going to control the ball on offense, and they're going to play awesome special teams and really flip the field for those hidden possessions. And that's what makes them win by 3 or 4 or 7 or whatever it is. And those hidden plays and hidden players really make a difference for sure.
So would you say, now that you're talking about facing the Patriots and how special that was your first Super Bowl win most special, or was it beating the GOAT in the second one?
Ooh, you know, it was.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. They're both for different reasons. See, I'll tell you why. I'm not going to give you the just storybook answer. The first one's really cool because you're like, this is an extremely unique opportunity, right? And you're going to the Super Bowl for the first time. You don't know what to expect, what it's going to be like. And let me tell you, it is everything that you think it would be. I mean, media everywhere. You're in the city, and there's just buzz all over the place. There's events and things, and it's just like it's like the whole world's stopping over this thing, especially in the city you're in. I mean, everything's revolving around it. What was really cool for us is when I was in Seattle, everybody came in really young on the team. Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch got traded just a year or two before. Cam Chancellor got drafted. Earl Thomas got drafted. Richard Sherman, Byron Maxwell, Bobby Wagner, Malcolm Smith, KJ Wright, all our D-line, I mean, Brandon Browner, we all came and assembled to the team, and we were all young players in our career. And we built the team up kind of together, Legion of Boom, right? And we became really dominant. And so that one was really special because we grew together and we all cut our teeth in the NFL together, and we, kind of built the program up together and became a force. And that really, like, the NFL hadn't seen at that point, just the way it started.
It was. They were dominating.
Yeah.
It
was unheard of.
Yeah, it was unheard of.
It was cool. So that was really cool. And it was Seattle's first ever championship, which was awesome. Now, flash forward, Philadelphia was really cool because you got this really historic organization, great organization, and this is also Philadelphia's first championship too for a really historic, organization. And you're playing the GOAT, right? And Tom Brady and Belichick, right? So you're playing the best of the best. But this time around, it was a more mature team. We kind of got assembled from different places and areas. Carson Wentz was drafted. Nick Foles was there, left, came back. You got Malcolm Jenkins that came over from the Saints. Darren Sproles that came over from the Saints. You got, key guys that were kind of all like pieced together. And then we built a really solid core. We were all really close, and then we built it up. And, that was really, really cool too for that reason, and for the city. I mean, man, there was times where I'd be at the corner store, you know, in South Philadelphia, and grown men are coming up to you, they're tearing up, saying, "You have no idea what this wins, you know."
My father used to take me to the games.
Yeah, my grandfather took me to the games. He would come home and we'd watch, you know, when I was with my grandfather. And this guy's a grown man, you know, this is decades and decades and decades. You know, all he wanted to do is watch Eagles football, and to see the appreciation these people have and how much they love it and appreciate your work, you know, to give them that joy in your life, it makes what you do even better. So those are fun times.
That's got to feel good. Kind of ironic too, in you're on the stairs with Rocky, the whole Rocky story, underdog, you're against the Patriots, like it's real fitting. They should probably make a movie about it.
It was cool, yeah, it was fun, man. Good times. Philly's a great city, great fans too.
So they're different. They're both good for different reasons. I can see why you'd say that. The one thing that Brady, I'm curious to know this about you, because what Brady would always say when he's asked that question, he'd always say it's the next one. And only until about 2 years ago did I realize, because we've honed our skills in, is because I truly believe he enjoys the chase more than everything.
Big time. Yeah, I mean,
it's the actual chase.
Think about it. You guys land a big account or do something or whatever, and it's like, man, the work and preparation it took to actually land that, the satisfaction of that is the best, you know. And then it's like the competitiveness. That's where I feel like things separate amongst teams or businesses, is that when you're competing or when you're always keeping that pencil sharp per se, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you're always pushing the needle, right? And you're pushing the line to be great or better, or do your processes better, or whatever it is with your employees, or the way you manufacture.
Level up our own personal skill set.
Level it up, right? Yeah, and that's how you sustain greatness. You know, to me, anybody can do anything once, right? And so if you see somebody who can do something once, that's great. But if you can sustain success, to me, that's what's really, really cool. And so, you know, that's what I love about watching great teams or organizations or businesses sustain success for so long, because it's hard. You got to constantly evolve. You got to constantly get better. You can't stay the same because you'll regress. And so that's really what I appreciate about that.
And transferring over to the kind of private sector, business-wise, other than getting over the shock and awe of not being able to go back on the field.
Right.
You're doing well.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're thriving with the business and plans for more. You're spending time with kids. You're coaching, giving back to the community.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, just.
What else is in the future for Chris Maragos?
I don't know. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things where you just got to be open-handed and say, all right, I don't really know what the future holds, but I'm just going to walk day by day. And when opportunities present themselves, you know, you'll kind of cross those bridges and enter through those doors as they present themselves. So for me, I'm just trying to stay available and, you know, just trying to be faithful with what I've been given right now, what I've been entrusted with. That's my family, and that's, you know, my youth football teams and the high school football teams I'm helping with, and you know, the people I've been around. And as opportunities keep presenting themselves, we'll just kind of have more along the way.
Celsius spokesman?
Celsius brought to you tropical vibes right here.
We are extremely grateful, Chris, and I mean this with all sincerity, that you would take time out of your day to come sit with us. Selfishly, it's going to help our brand and business, but we feel like we've learned something from it. We want to try and learn, because we're still trying to level up ourselves.
Oh, we all are.
I think I've learned a lot, actually, today from you, and it means a lot to us, and it won't go unnoticed, that's for sure.
Well, it's an honor and privilege to be here. I appreciate the opportunity and give me a chance to sit down with you guys. So.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right, we're going to sign off here, and that's Mr. Chris Maragos.
Super Bowl champ.
Don't call him the
Don't call him the holder. Don't call him as a placeholder.
I'll give you something to hold.
Yeah, exactly, right.